Peace, love to my family. It's your boy GY Monkey here. Let's get into some straight up woke rants and just in general shit talks that I gotta let out. Because I myself am someone that really just loves talking shit, formulating altercations because that's how a vampire is. I'm just messing with you, bro. I'm just messing with you. But I myself am someone who really is very honest with everything, and I like life. I enjoy life. But anyways, in this installation of the Order of the Great Serpent, I'm gonna be speaking on some very controversial subjects that people have to heal from on a spiritual path, because we have communities such as the Love and Light, the pro-black community, the pro-conscious, the pro-black conscious community. I'm gonna put it that way, and many other communities in general. Now, who are you hearing this message from? If you're still with racism, you're still with dualistic thinking, disorder and chaos. I myself am Puerto Rican. I myself have triracial genes, so I have African heritage. And if you do your Google homework, you know what a Puerto Rican is. But I don't give a fuck about that dumb shit, because if you want to be technical, y'all think y'all gods. Y'all want a goddess. You see what I mean? A lot of these people have been formulated this way, which is okay. I mean, everybody's a god and a goddess, but you are speaking to one as well. So don't confuse me as a clone or a hybridized creation. You see what I mean? I know what you know. I know about everything that y'all guys and goddesses post. But let me be straightforward with it and not say things that will offend you, because my skin tone says it all, and that's fine with me. But I don't give a fuck. I tune into Bobby Hammett and I read a lot of good books. You see what I mean? So shout out to Bobby Hammett. But you see what I mean? So this video is gonna be about racism and a lot of separation in this reality on a more open-minded manner, because I'm high as shit and I'm just getting high. Now, when it comes to racism in general, you gotta understand this. Racism does not mean in this context that I'm speaking racism on, it is not racism against color. It is not black and white. When I'm speaking about racism, if you want to be more esoterically philosophical with it, I mean, it's dual. I don't want to get too. I'm high, but I'm not trying to get philosophical with this. But what I mean by racism is total separation from masculine and feminine on a straightforward manner. And this reality is very cryptic. And if you understand reality and the clues that it leaves out every fucking where, you will understand that it conveys messages. The music you listen to conveys messages. The McDonald's, the Wendy's, the Burger King, they all leave in clues in all these messages. Not just them places, okay? I'm talking about everywhere you go to and where you venture off in this reality and domain that you are temporarily stationed in. And because I'm saying that, you got to understand how racism works. If there is law and disorder, there is total racism. Racism is a way of life with these gods and goddesses that have been deprogrammed and dumbed down to such a high magnitude. You see what I mean? They want them to be self-righteous with their righty, but be too lefty with their thinking, only to leave out what the fuck would they... You see what I mean? They're more misled like that. You see? And so separation has been happening on such a very elaborate manner. It started with languages. It started with dogma, the creation of religion, because religion never left its roots. Religion has never left the magical side it always had. You see what I mean? Religion means religare, reli fucking gare in Latin, which means to unify and to bind. And because that's what it means, Just as yoga means to unify and to bind, essentially this is what they do not want you to do in this reality. Unify against what? Unify with the children and the physical manifestation of the spark of light that the primordial creation, the creator, left out. And as well, in general, internal polarity unification. That's one of the biggest things that this reality wants you to be at constantly. It starts in the mind, and then it leads to the external world around them. Racism started with you. It never started with this white man did such and such and beat my brother and then this and that and then I pull up on him. No, the fuck it did not. My nigga, it did not start it like that. Racism did not start it by two motherfuckers beefing. Because everybody at one point was sitting at the same lunch table eating with every single body from every single part of the world, wherever the fuck these motherfuckers ventured off to and met whoever the fuck they met, for fuck's sake. This is how the world has always been. Whether you believe that or not, it was only to the, I don't know what period, because I'm not too deep in history like that. But you see what I mean. Racism, what I mean by how this reality makes you racist, because racism is a form of living. It's a form of lifestyle. Why do you think there's a left and a right in politics? Racism is equivalent to politics. For fuck's sake, you got the Democrats and you got Republicans. You see what the fuck I'm trying to get onto? Everything is dualistic. Your rap beef, for fuck's sake. I shut up, da 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 da. We did it, da 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 da. Who, what, da da da. You see what I mean? You have niggas beefing with each other and then shooting each other up, causing violence. You see, there's a saying that Jesuits have, because this is not people's faults. You gotta be accepting of the fact this is something that this reality wants. It wants hysteria, it wants violence, chaos, and disorder. And if you understand this saying that these Israelites or these Jesuits left, that is, bring me a child and I'll turn him into a man. And so what that means is, if I get it correctly, a 7-year-old boy or whatever has a mind state that is in a theta frequency, like I've mentioned in many previous videos. And this frequency is on record. It's a whole YouTube video on live stream, for fuck's sake. He's the brother and sister, the child is observing, picking up shit. For fuck's sake, if a child get his ass beat, if you was to be in that child's shoes getting your ass beat by your own mother with a belt, how pleasant would that experience be if you was to be the one observing it, which you was at that state of mind? Oh yes, that would be a horrendous ass whooping. Them screams and everything like that traumatizes the child. Their upbringing, their way of living, the way they was brought up. This your language, religion, what you like watching. You like to watch Disney. Let's go watch Disney. All your favorite. You see what I mean? Now they formulate something within your mind and subconscious for you to record, so that in general and essentially whatever you picked up from 7 to 12 and formulated as a habit and lifestyle dictates and makes your detrimental, or just say it makes your life completely, you have your life completely. And so humans themselves are in disorder and chaos more with themselves than anybody else. Understand internal racism. This is why it's necessary to do shadow work, because now, from whatever you recorded from childhood, from violence to trauma to sexual assaults, oh yeah, that shit happens, unfortunately. You witnessing death, you witnessing things a child should not be witnessing. Essentially, these traumas and these burdens formulate your subconscious and makes patterns out of you. It makes things out of you so that you could remember what to avoid, and it becomes a survival instinct. You see what I mean? So look at it on that standpoint on what I'm trying to get at, my brothers and sisters, that this is something that happens in this reality. You see? These foods are another thing. So it's, you see, these foods, these drugs too. I myself smoke weed, but you want to know something? I don't want to be separate from nothing. You see what I mean? Because weed is good. But what I mean by drugs, excuse me, is the fact that some of these drugs that your brothers and sisters, your gods and goddesses in the hood sell. You see what I mean? And these drugs are formulated a certain way that causes lowers testosterone and it makes people more demasculinized. You see these chemicals that they put on the foods. One of them is atrazine. If you know it, you know it. Essentially, you see what I'm trying to get at. They make people separate from they make them more feminine in nature. They make them more degraded. It boosts women's testosterone, whatever. It causes opposite imbalances. And so now you got this music, because the Boondocks is a show that told you a lot of this bullshit firsthand before you got into it. Before you was calling and insulting a wetbag, a cracker. Yo, what up, cracker? What's up, my nigga? You see what I mean? Before you was doing any of that, what happened first? Your upbringing. What your parents brought up from this reality got brought up to you. So regardless or not, unless you came from an occult background, that your parents already were woke from the beginning, motherfucker, and they told you everything. That'll be a nice ass life. I ain't gonna lie to you about that. I romanticize about life like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Who knows? Shit happens, you know. But you see what I mean? Then essentially, that lifestyle got brought up to you. Now the music, now this, and then false religion. Now they tell you about religion. Oh, this word is right. But you see everything else in this reality, these other words and these doctrines, they're the works of the adversary. Do not tap into them. Do not, because you will burn in hell. And your little childish ass, okay, that does not know from right from wrong. There's no right or wrong, but your inner child and your young adolescent child does not know right from wrong. Essentially, you are in fear. For the sole fact you've been getting your ass beat by the same motherfucking parent of yours that tell you this word, by this happening in preschool or such and such. Now you're traumatized more than ever before. And because you're so traumatized, now you follow into their word, their upbringing, their heritage. I accept without no reasoning. I accept whatever consequences happen. I don't want to go to hell. Hell is too... It sounds disgusting. I don't want to burn there. I don't want to be there. No reasoning. And because of no reasoning, now you don't got no intuition. Now you don't got no creative thought. For the sole fact, this reality makes people think with their left side of their brain more than with their right side of their motherfucking brain. This is why they make people who are born left-handed right with their right hand. This is why the left-handed people are critiqued more. You see, they want you to be so righteous with your righty and everything, to the point where you will not understand, with your so self-righteous understanding of how you perceive yourself in this physical matrix, to the point where you don't realize you've been thinking too lefty. And you've been bending against your own free will, against other people's free wills. You're doing such and such, and you're breaking people. You're hurting people. So understand that there must be a balance. You must have your head up high in the clouds or grounded down your feet against the earth. So understand what I'm trying to get at. I mean, to be real with you, the Bible states everything, to be honest with you, about you. You are Jesus Christ. There's 12 disciples of the 12 zodiac signs. They're all the 12. They're the 12. What else? He was left-handed. He died at age 33. You see what I mean? He was the middle pillar. He was the one in the middle, crucified and ascending as he walked Jacob's ladder through. You see what I mean? And so, yes, Jesus Christ was left-handed. And considering the fact that Christians consider left-handed people violent, rebellious, dumb, what do you call it? What's that one word? Stubborn. Homosexuals too. Satanic children. You see what I mean? They do these stereotypes because you rebelling is equivalent to you becoming Jesus Christ in his reality. Jesus Christ is an individual who broke out the matrix. You see what I'm trying to get at? And so the Bible is just a message or just a book for you to decipher the matrix. You see what I mean? You see what I'm trying to get at? Sup, Jesus Christ? We need more Jesus Christ, to be honest with you. But that's what I'm trying to get at. You see what I mean? Now, another thing you gotta understand is ancestral trauma when it comes to this factor, because racism, a lot of global issues, and in general, everything that you perceive in your motherfucking life has multi-generational problems, and it has been ingrained since your grandfather was alive, since your great-great-grandfather was walking on his shoes on earth, wherever he was, all right? What I'm trying to say, your ancestors, okay? You see what I'm trying to get at? It is multi-generational, and it's hard for people to accept because they're so hurt. They're so hurt by a whole system, but yet you see how the system operates. You see, I think I learned about separation is the way of living. Racism is separation. Racism is a modern program in reality for a reason. Because when it comes to racism, now you got two-sided things, okay? You have a good and a bad. There's no knowing of what is correct. There's no middleness. There's no mildness. And so when someone who is too lefty comes in the scene and speaks a little different, it becomes a big ass issue. Because look at it this way. You go in public, right? You could observe. What's the conversation you're going to hear about? Oh, you heard about the Cowboys team. You heard about such and such. You heard about this. Pointless conversations. Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da. You see, you observe the state of humanity. It's retarded. It's very retarded. And because it's separate and retarded, but very much programmed a certain way, because everybody's cloned out. Everybody's pimped out and bitched out against their free will to this whole domain. And so it morphs them to be like this brother, to be like this sister, to be like this individual who acts this way. You see, they click up with the Christians because that's their homies. And if they rebel, their homies will rebel and fight for their God. You see what I mean? And when you become in tune with your right brain, because I myself am both-handed. I myself write with both my hands. So just know that. But I myself am born left-handed. And when I was going through school, I myself could tell you this. You being left-handed, it is the strangest fucking thing in a right-handed school. The good side about it is you'll be throwing hands like a motherfucker, for fuck's sake, because everybody's orthodox. But aside from throwing hands and beating the living shit out of right-handed motherfuckers. The issue that comes with being right-handed is you get hated. Left-handed. You get hated. You be too much original. You're too different. Because being left-handed is a blessing. And when you're left-handed, you're more in tune with your right brain. If I gotta be technical with you, you're more emotional. You're in tune with emotion. People who are right-handed are not, to a grand extent, because they work with their ego. And their ego is able to repress bullshit easier. Know that. And so because it's able to have repressed emotions, now it's able to make gang members. It makes people like these. Okay? It makes your parents who never expressed their emotions to you. You see how broken humanity is? Over being righty and not knowing right from wrong and not being childlike. See what I mean? And so, what fault do you have? Not one. You was brought up in this upbringing, but you broke out the system. You broke out the problem. And I asked you, why you still suffering about racism? Black folk did this. Oh, they killed black folk. Oh, they killed a Latino man. Oh, they killed Latino brother that I knew. They killed such and such. They killed, you see what I mean? Oh, this religion, oh, such and such. Y'all gotta bypass this shit. Y'all gotta bypass it. Because you're not gonna die and then be worrying about this shit. Your soul is gonna be like, oh, what the fuck was I worrying about? What the fuck was I wasting about? I could have had more fun. Or if not, you get to a certain age, you become an OG, you're a nursing home, now thinking, man, I could have done such and such when I was young. But yeah, I was still worrying about this individual, this white man who did me wrong, this Latino folk. You see what I mean? But yet we're attracted to their opposite. Everything makes sense now. Everything makes sense now, doesn't it? Doesn't it make sense? Yet we hate the white man, but we love the white woman. We love the African chick. We love the Latino chick. But yet we odds with each other with the masculinity of that treacherous, violent battle we have against others. You see what I mean? Don't deny that. That's the truth. That's the truth. So what problem do you have? Not one. Not one. Because the only thing you did was lie to yourself. Oh, yes. So look at it this way. I myself am someone that have been through racism, whether you believe that or not. I myself look white. I myself do not look as your typical black man or African brother, okay? But I have African genes. You see what I mean? I myself could tell you this from experience, that I myself do not give a fuck about that race card bullshit. You know what time it is with me. I'm just an observer of this whole physical existence. And just in general, this is not me. This face does not define who I truly am. So regardless of what with race, I don't give a fuck. I'm just equal to everybody as it is. Yes, my nigga, I'm equal to you. But I'ma say this. When it comes to this this bullshit that I went through, because I used to go to school as an adolescent, and I used to say to the people, as like the Mexican people, because I live in a Mexican environment. Oh yes, Puerto Rican me lives in. You see what I mean? I have a little bit of hatred for some Mexicans, but I love the Mexican style. I love the Mexican food, the Mexican women. It's just in general how they look. You see what I mean? I mean, I like how they speak to an extent. It sounds kind of funny to me. Cuando ellos hablan español, it sounds funny to me when they speak Spanish. I mean, it's just a thing, you know? Different dialect, different everything, etc. Ain't no problem. But when I used to go to school, I used to be bullied. And I used to tell people, hey, and this is gonna be the story of how I got my name OG White Monkey. Because this is how I'm gonna tell it. It's the first time I tell it. I myself was going through a time where I was becoming a rapper. I'm still am a rapper. I still make music and shit like that. I'm a SoundCloud artist. I haven't posted my SoundCloud bullshit yet. I don't got time for that yet at the moment. But I myself went through a stage where I myself was being bullied by this one individual. And he used to call me. I used to tell everybody, "Look, I'm black. I'm triracial. I got Taino. I got Spaniard conquistador and African blood in me." You see what I mean? I'm just being straightforward because that is my roots. And guess what? Now they make fun of me and say, "Shut the fuck up, you white man. You a white monkey, OG white faggot." That's how they started calling me out. And then guess what? Someone said, "OG white monkey," and after that, I did not like it because at that time I was like, I was heavily insulted. Like, what the fuck is bro? Stop calling me that shit. You see, OG white monkey, OG white monkey. But as I got used to it, I said, wait a minute, this shit powerful. And like I say to people, when you're on a spiritual journey, change your name. And if not, live by a title, because living by a title will help you out as well. I mean, check it out. And so when I went through that stage, I eventually accepted that name. And OG White Monkey was basically my rap moniker, just in general, my title for who I am. But I'm going to leave that to be. I'm going to say this as well before I wrap it up. The only way you're going to get bypass racism if you don't bypass that repressed version of yourself. I must say that. But another thing is, when it comes to racism, do not dwell on people's imperfections. Just because their father was mad, they fought your father at distant time. You see what I mean? What we're doing is carrying our ancestors' dirty work. If you want to be technical about it, we're carrying on the lineage and the weapons, the models, the way of life to our upcoming generations constantly. This doesn't go as well for the black people because they hood and shit like that. This doesn't go as well for the Latino narcos or South American. You see what I mean? I'm not trying to stereotype it, but you see, I stereotype everything because racism is stupid. Now, I have respect for every race. I will treat everybody with the utmost respect. But just know this, if I insult you with a slur, just know this, it's not for you to take in. It never was. Okay? Just know that. But you see what I mean? And never carry those wounds of your ancestors, like I mentioned you. Don't carry their battles. And the best way to overcome racism as a whole is to not teach your kids about racism. To tell them that everybody's accepted, that everybody's loved and appreciated. You have to bend the timelines in order to make change. Because these children, like I mentioned with what I said, that the Jesuits say are the future. And are in general essentially what you need to focus on more better. Because you treating a kid with an ass whooping, that's going to make a rebellious child. Just know that. But I'm going to leave that to be. This is my short rant on racism. But hey, you already know what it is. OG White Monkey out. Keeping it 100 with you with source. You already know what we be on. Peace out. OGS for life. Take care.